The power of kindness. The neon lights of Daisy's cafe flickered against the backdrop of a rainy Chicago evening, their soft glow barely illuminating the cracked pavement. Inside, 23-year-old Sophia Turner balanced a tray of steaming plates with the grace of someone far older than her years. The cafe's faded wallpaper and creaky chairs told the story of a place that had weathered time, much like Sophia herself. Yet, despite her modest life and meager earnings, she carried a light in her heart that refused to dim. For Sophia, Daisy's Cafe wasn't just a job, it was a lifeline. She worked double shifts to support her younger brother's education, scrimping and saving every penny to give him a future she could only dream of. But her true calling lay in her quiet acts of kindness. Each night after her shift, she would carefully pack leftover food into paper bags and hand them out to the homeless she passed on her walk home. It wasn't much, but to those who received it, it was a lifeline. That evening, as the rain poured relentlessly and the wind howled through the city streets, Sophia spotted a small figure huddled under a bus stop shelter. Her heart clenched at the sight. A boy, no older than 8, soaked to the bone and shivering violently. She hesitated for only a moment before approaching him, her voice soft and soothing. "Hey there, sweetheart," she said, kneeling beside him. "Are you okay? Where are your parents?" The boy looked up at her, his pale face streaked with rain. "I don't have anyone," he whispered, his voice barely audible. "I'm hungry." Without a second thought, Sophia extended her hand. "Come with me," she said gently. "Let's get you warm." As they hurried through the rain back to the cafe, Sophia shielded the boy with her own coat, ignoring the cold seeping into her skin. Inside, she wrapped him in a blanket and served him a steaming bowl of soup. The boy's face lit up as he ate, and for the first time that night, Sophia felt a warmth that even the cold rain couldn't extinguish. What Sophia didn't know was that someone was watching. Across the street, in the back seat of a sleek black car, Ethan Blake, a billionaire CEO known for his sharp business acumen and reserved demeanor, had paused on his drive home. Through the rain-streaked window, he had witnessed the entire scene. At first, Ethan had merely been curious. Who was this young woman braving the storm to help a homeless boy? But as he watched Sophia's genuine kindness unfold, something stirred within him, a feeling he hadn't experienced in years. Her actions weren't for recognition or gain. They were born of pure compassion. "Who is she?" Ethan murmured to himself, unable to tear his gaze away. He jotted down the cafe's name before instructing his driver to continue. Yet, even as he returned to his luxurious penthouse, the image of Sophia lingered in his mind. Her selflessness, a stark contrast to the world of wealth and ambition he inhabited. The next few days passed in a blur for Sophia. Between juggling double shifts and helping her brother with his schoolwork, she barely had time to reflect on the boy she had helped. But his smile remained etched in her memory, a reminder of why she did what she did. Ethan, on the other hand, couldn't shake the thought of her. He had built an empire on strategy and logic. Yet here he was, captivated by a stranger's simple act of kindness. He needed to know more about her. An unexpected encounter. One evening, as the dinner rush wound down, the bell above the cafe door jingled softly. Sophia glanced up and froze. A tall man in a perfectly tailored suit had entered, his polished shoes and confident stride at odds with the humble surroundings. Ethan's gaze swept the room before landing on Sophia. She was busy refilling a customer's coffee, her hair slightly frizzy from the humidity, but her smile radiant as ever. There was an ease to her movements, a warmth in her presence that made the cafe feel like home. "Welcome to Daisy's Cafe," she said, approaching him with her usual cheer. "Take a seat anywhere you like." Ethan chose a corner booth, his eyes following her as she moved between tables. He saw how she greeted every customer with patience and kindness, her small gestures refilling a coffee cup, offering a kind word making a world of difference. When his meal was finished, Ethan left without a word, slipping an envelope under his plate. It wasn't until Sophia cleared the table that she noticed it. Inside was a stack of crisp bills, far more than any normal tip. Her hands trembled as she counted the money, disbelief washing over her. The beginning of change. The next morning, Sophia tied on her apron and began her shift, still puzzled by the stranger's generosity. But her thoughts were soon interrupted when the cafe door swung open and Ethan entered again, his presence commanding attention. This time, he asked for her specifically. As she approached his table, notepad in hand, Sophia's heart pounded. "What can I get you today?" she asked, her voice steady despite her nerves. Ethan hesitated, then smiled. "The special of the day. And, if you don't mind, I'd like to talk to you after your shift." Sophia blinked, caught off guard. "Oh, I don't usually take breaks," she stammered. "Then make an exception," Ethan replied, his tone warm yet firm. "Trust me, it's worth it." Curiosity gnawed at her as she served him. But she said nothing. When he finally left, he handed her another envelope. "Open this when you have a moment," he said, his expression unreadable. As soon as he walked out, Sophia unfolded the note inside. Her breath caught in her throat. It was a check for $50,000, accompanied by a handwritten message. "Your kindness inspired me. Use this to build the future you deserve. Ethan Blake." Sophia's hands trembled as tears welled in her eyes. She ran outside, searching for him, but Ethan's sleek black car had already disappeared into the Chicago night. Have you ever had a moment where one act of kindness changed everything? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Sophia Turner's hands trembled as she clutched the check. $50,000. It wasn't just money, it was a miracle, an opportunity to escape the crushing weight of her struggles. Yet as she stared at the number, doubt gnawed at her. Why would a billionaire care about someone like her? Why would a man like Ethan Blake, who could have helped anyone, choose to help her? These questions swirled in her mind as she sat in her tiny apartment, the sound of the city outside muffled by the storm inside her heart. She wanted to believe it was real, that his kindness was genuine, but her life had taught her to be wary of too good to be true moments. The following days passed in a blur. Every time Sophia walked past the mirror, she caught herself glancing at her reflection, trying to see what Ethan had seen in her. But all she could see was a young woman exhausted from working double shifts, her hands calloused from carrying trays and wiping tables. Despite the doubt, something in her shifted. For the first time in years, she allowed herself to dream. She thought of the cafe she had always envisioned, a place where anyone could walk in and feel at home. A space where warmth wasn't just in the coffee, but in the way people were treated. The check in her drawer wasn't just money, it was the key to a future she had never dared to imagine. Late one evening, as Sophia was locking up the cafe, the sleek black car she had seen weeks ago pulled up to the curb. Her heart raced as Ethan Blake stepped out, his polished shoes clicking against the pavement. He looked different this time, less guarded, more human. There was a quiet intensity in his eyes as he approached her. "I hope I'm not interrupting," he said, his voice steady but tinged with hesitation. Sophia shook her head, her voice barely above a whisper. "Not at all. I've been meaning to thank you." Ethan's lips curved into a faint smile. I didn't do it for gratitude. I did it because I saw something in you. That night, when you helped that boy, it wasn't just an act of kindness. It was a reflection of who you are." He paused, searching her eyes. "You reminded me of something I'd forgotten what it means to care without expecting anything in return." Sophia's breath caught in her throat. No one had ever spoken to her like that, as though she mattered in a way she had never considered. "I don't know what to say," she admitted. "I'm just me." "That's exactly why I want to help you," Ethan replied. "Your kindness, your heart, it's rare, and it deserves to grow." Over the next few weeks, Ethan became a constant presence in Sophia's life. He introduced her to architects and contractors, helped her navigate the complexities of starting a business, and guided her through every step of bringing her dream to life. It was overwhelming, but his quiet confidence steadied her. For the first time, she felt seen not as a waitress scraping by, but as someone with the potential to create something meaningful. When the cafe opened, Sophia stood at the entrance, the sign Haven Cafe glowing softly above her. The first customer to walk through the door was the young boy she had helped that rainy night. He looked up at her, his eyes wide with recognition. "You're the lady who helped me," he said, his voice filled with awe. Sophia knelt down, her eyes brimming with tears. "And I always will," she promised. As the cafe flourished, it became more than just a business, it was a sanctuary. People from all walks of life came through its doors, drawn by the warmth that radiated from every corner. Homeless individuals found free meals waiting for them, struggling families found support, and those who had lost hope found a place to belong. Sophia poured her heart into every detail, ensuring that Haven Cafe lived up to its name. Ethan often visited, sitting quietly in the corner and watching Sophia work. One evening, as the cafe closed, he approached her, a rare smile on his face. "You've created something extraordinary," he said. "This place, it's a reflection of who you are." Sophia looked around, the soft hum of the cafe still lingering in the air. "I couldn't have done it without you," she said. "You gave me a chance when no one else would." Ethan shook his head. "I just gave you the tools. You built this." Months turned into years, and Haven Cafe became a cornerstone of the community. Its story spread far and wide, inspiring others to create spaces of their own. But for Sophia, the greatest joy came not from the recognition, but from the lives she touched. The boy she had helped that night now worked at the cafe, his shy smile a reminder of how far kindness could reach. Families who had once struggled to make ends meet returned, their children laughing and playing in the cafe's cozy corners. One evening, as the first snow of the season fell, Ethan stood outside the cafe, watching through the window as Sophia served a family their meal. His heart swelled with pride, not for what he had done, but for what she had become. Sophia, noticing him, stepped outside, her breath visible in the cold air. "Still watching me work?" she teased, her voice light but warm. Ethan chuckled. "I could watch forever." Sophia smiled, her eyes softening. "Thank you," she said, "for everything." Ethan met her gaze, his voice steady. "Thank you, Sophia, for reminding me that no act of kindness is ever wasted." As they stood there, the world around them seemed to quiet, the snow falling gently, like a promise of new beginnings. For Sophia, that rainy night had been the start of a journey she could never have imagined. And for Ethan, it had been a reminder that even the smallest acts of compassion could ripple outward, transforming lives in ways no one could foresee. Do you believe that a single moment of kindness can change everything? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that prove the power of compassion.